Yo, what is going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your daily tarot and astrology reading for Thursday, August 29th of 2024. Thank you so much for joining me in this video. Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful week so far. Let's go ahead and hop into today's video. The cards, the astrology, so we can see how you can be better prepared to navigate these pivotal times. Well, hopefully you guys were able to catch Cosmic Convergence today. Act 2 of Faux Reawakens. That was definitely a very powerful, I believe, one of the most important Cosmic Convergence weekly astrology horoscopes I'm going to do this year. So be sure to check that out here on my YouTube. Of course, you can just go to the live section and it'll be right there at the top. Definitely have a lot going on this week astrologically, although it may seem a little unassuming. Today is one of those unassuming days. I have the Knight of Wands in reverse. We can't just rush right into things, and we can't expect change to happen immediately. This has to be, we have to take a much more measured approach, but this could cause some frustration because we're wanting to move things forward. We're wanting to get things done and go fast, if you will, and be a little bit impulsive, but we have to have a much more measured approach to this. We can't just rush right into things. It's not going to come together 100% or perfect the way that we want it to look, right? That we have that followed by the Queen of Swords. The reason why is because we have some missing information. This Queen of Swords is normally an individual that is, obviously highly intelligent and usually very logical, and is a great communicator. But when it's in reverse, the Queen allows her emotions to kind of get in the way, not from an intuitive standpoint, but from a standpoint where her emotions get the better of her and she's unable to make those decisions. She's unable to think things through logically, or she gives in to maybe even the darker emotions and may say things that she doesn't actually mean, kind of foot and mouth statements, if you will. So we want things to move fast. We want things to move forward. We want to feel like we're making some sort of progress. I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that we do have Pluto that will be finishing up in Aquarius and will be coming back into Capricorn this week. So there's a bit of that at play here. Now, astrologically, we do have the moon that is going to be in Cancer today, right? I think part of the whole Knight of Wands energy is also the fact that Mercury is now coming forward. But you gotta remember, Mercury is still moving slow. Just because Mercury went direct doesn't mean that we're not going to feel any of the blowback from this Mercury retrograde, because it is still in its shadow. So I think that's the thing about this that we have to consider. This moon in Cancer, though, today is not going to do a ton. What the main thing that it does is that we will see it make a trine over to Saturn here, right? We'll make a trine over here to Saturn at 16 degrees. This happens while Venus actually ingresses into Libra. So when it comes to the Venus energy, when it comes to the way that we open up and receive things, it's going to definitely feel a lot better. We're going to feel a bit more at home. Granted, this Venus is still going to be involved with this South Node in Libra. So there is still a sort of blast from the past kind of energy that comes up here, and it's going to be asking us, well, are we going to go in the direction of maybe what's easy and making compromises that go against our spiritual integrity, because that's part of this. This moon in Cancer is wanting to feel comfortable, but the trine over to Saturn is still a little bit difficult because it's calling into question whether or not something is within our spiritual integrity. That's sort of the conundrum of the day, especially with the Knight of Wands in reverse and the Queen of Swords in reverse, the two court cards. Especially when I see the Knight, I always think of action. So with it being in reverse and with the Queen of Swords in reverse, yeah, Mercury may be coming forward in Leo, but we still don't have all the answers. We still have to get the big revelation that happens once the moon conjuncts Mercury, and then of course the new moon that's going to happen in Virgo by the end of this week, right? Or coming into, Monday on September 2nd. So we have to kind of, play the field a little bit, play the game a little bit today, try not to rush it to conclusions on a day like today, and realize that things are still going to take time to develop. I think astrologically, it could be a day where we are definitely starting to feel a little bit better about things. At least we have the moon in its home sign. We have Venus in its home sign. We'll have Neptune in its home sign. So we'll have 3 planets at home, which is nice. We haven't really been having too much of that. It's been mostly Neptune at home, of course. Venus just got out of its fall position. The sun was in Leo, but now it's in Virgo. So we haven't had a lot of time with planets in home, at least lately here. So this will be a night, and I guess over the last week, of course, when the sun came into Virgo and stuff. But I think this is one of those days where it's like I said, always be easy on yourself. Just don't expect things to happen immediately. Don't expect things to happen automatically, and don't feel the need to have all the answers before you take an action. I think just because the Knight of Wands is reversed, don't be afraid to take an action or to make a move. Just realize that you're not going to have the full scope of everything, but also don't be afraid to move either. I think that's the other part of this, is that we don't want to be afraid to take a step. We don't want to be afraid to move. The Moon and Saturn trine is sort of like, hey, so long as it's intuitively something that does feel good and makes sense and is within your spiritual integrity, go ahead and take that move. Go ahead and take that step. But we have to take that into consideration. We don't want to just rush right into things. We don't want to just be super impulsive, right? But we also want to acknowledge that, hey, I'm not going to have the full answer. And I'm probably not going to get the full answer. So you don't want to wait too long. This is the balancing act. This is Venus coming into its home sign of Libra, 0 degrees, meaning that we're going to get the pure form of this. So yes, this is a balancing act of energy, right? So that's the main stuff that we're going to see on this day, because the moon's not really going to do really anything else. We're going to see it almost make a square to Chiron, but that's going to be more so going into Friday, so we're not going to quite see that. We will see Venus, of course, make a trine to Pluto as well during all this, and that's a pretty positive alignment overall, but it still deals with Pluto, so there's still a bit of a harshness that comes with it. So this Pluto, of course, getting ready to head back into Capricorn. Like I said in my weekly astrology horoscope, we're getting the pure essence of Aquarius and we're getting the pure essence of Venus. And Venus is the one that's at home. So this Pluto is going to help this Venus to open up in many ways to these relationships that maybe are a little bit outside of the norm or outside of what we, I guess, would normally feel like we could connect to. But it will help us to see that there is value in these places. But the other part about this too is that this could be an opportunity to rekindle some friendships, rekindle some relationships, potentially sort of have a Phoenix Rising kind of moment with this as well. But we have to consider that because this Pluto is still, in retrograde, that you may be able to make amends with an individual or with a situation, but that doesn't mean that the story is over as to why things needed to be mended in the first place, like what caused the disparity, what caused the disruption. Hopefully, by the time that we get to the point where you can address that disruption, it's sort of like water under the bridge, but it's still kind of like, sweeping up those final little crumbs so the full kitchen will be clean, if that makes sense, if that metaphor makes sense. So, like I said, good opportunity to connect with other individuals, good opportunity to maybe even bridge some gaps that were there before. But ultimately, I think it's going to be one of those days where that moon is in Cancer, and ultimately we're going to be more so emotionally reacting and responding to our comforts, our sanctuary, our home, mother issues, father issues, parent issues, our childhoods, things of that nature. Especially now that Mercury is coming forward, a lot of people are going to start talking a lot more and expressing what they really think. Final card I have is the Page of Cups upright. All court cards for this one. The other two were reversed. We have the Page of Cups. It's interesting how we went from the Knight up to the Queen, now down to the Page. So this does feel a bit dramatic. We got fire, we have air, we have water, which is coming to cool things off. I think this is sort of necessary, though. I feel like this Page of Cups brings about a sort of youthful energy, maybe even an innocence that kind of can help to shed light on the situation. So there could be a person that comes into your life on this day that could be water sign, or like I said, there's almost a bit of naivety to this energy where someone that's outside of, and this is the Venus trine Pluto, someone from outside of your normal sphere or the situation may be able to provide some perspective that can really help to shed some light on the situation or the relationship, what you're dealing with. Probably will come from something that's seemingly more youthful and naive, so like a child or something like that. They might, you know how, like, let's say kids say the darnest things. A kid just might say something incredibly intelligent, it's incredibly emotionally intelligent, not even realize it, and then you might be like, oh wow, okay, I never really thought about it like that. It's because they don't have as many filters children do. They haven't been programmed as much yet. So that's what I'm saying. This is an individual that's going to come in to help kind of shine some light on it, definitely from a more emotional aspect, emotionally intelligent aspect that can be like, oh, I never really thought about it like that before. But the kid will probably forget about it like the next day or in the next hour. Like that's how weird it'll be as far as that goes. As far as the animal messenger that we have for the day, I have the bear. The good old reliable bear. Nurture creativity and return to the sweetness of life. I think that's what the Page of Cups is all about. I feel like the child comes into, it's like it's like, oh, my situation is so complicated. Oh, my relationship is so complicated. And then a kid or somebody comes along and looks at it as like, not really. It doesn't seem that complicated. Why don't you just do this? It's like, I can't just do that. And it's like, why not? And that's what the bear's coming in to say. It's like, return to that creativity. Nurture your creativity. Go back to the sweetness of life. Go back to the simplicity of life. If you just think about bears in general, it's like, yeah, it's one of those animals that we have turned cuddly, even though they are incredibly dangerous in many ways. But at the same time, it's like, they're out there chilling, rubbing their butts on freaking trees, trying to scratch those itches, catching the salmon. And there's a reason why bears are so prominent and just, and respected in America and Native American lore and stuff, is because they do have a sort of connection to the earth. And I'm also getting like Brother Bear kind of vibes too with this card coming up. So maybe you need to find yourself a coda, the little bear that traveled with the Kenai and stuff like that. Maybe a little bit annoying, but can provide some fresh perspective and be like, why can't it be that simple? Why can't it be that easy? Oftentimes as adults, we like to overcomplicate things. Probably just need someone to come in and just remind us to return back to a simpler, sweeter time. And I know we can't just fully reclaim that past, if you will, but like I've been saying, and I said this in my weekly astrology horoscope, do not let these times of this energy kill your creativity and kill your imagination, because that is what keeps you connected to your inner child the most. That's going to do it for your daily tarot and astrology reading. I trust that this message will assist you on your journey today. If you found this at all helpful, I'd appreciate it if you like this video, you share it with your friends, your family, or people that you believe that it could help, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. But yeah, y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful day. I will see you all on the next daily tarot and astrology reading. Peace.